I have a friend in South Carolina. She runs a store, a business. She's in her 20s. She was Gnostic. In her late 20s, she caught adult measles, nearly died from a raging temperature, and had a near-death experience as a result. She nearly died, and she's recovering. About a week, fortnight later, she discovers all these howling voices in her head, and they're dead people. And they're talking to her, and they're very violent and nasty and cruel obscenities yelled and screamed at her, you see. And you go, what the hell's going on here? How could this happen? Well, she noticed it happened mostly when she walked near the town cemetery. So she stopped going to that end of town. It's kind of fascinating. Now, not all the voices in her head as a result of the near-death experience were all raging and angry. Some of them were very cool and calm and gave her instructions, and she'd be sitting in her shop, and she'd be told, you've got to ask every customer coming in who was cooking bacon and eggs at 8:10 this morning. This is Gina in South Carolina running a shop. She's so embarrassed, she's told internally by one of these voices that she's got to ask every customer coming into her shop, health food shop, herbal medicine shop, that who was cooking bacon and eggs at 8:10 this morning. And after about 30 customers and lots of embarrassment and funny looks from people, someone finally said, oh, that's me, I was doing that, 8:10, yeah, bacon and eggs in the fry pan, yes. Gina's reply was, I have a message from your deceased grandmother. And the message is that the will you are looking for is hidden under the carpet under the lounge room sofa. This is what you need to know. And the man was delighted. He went, what? He said, we've been talking about that for months. And he went home and verified that it was true. And he later came back to the shop, showed her the will, and we've got it, we've got it, we've got it, he said. We need this to find out where all the money is and who it should go to. So that's a little example in my personal life. She's a good friend of mine, Gina, in South Carolina. Now, she got there by a near-death experience. She becomes a window for dead people to see through our world, into our world. They see through her. She glows in some way that gets their attention. This is real. These are living people, average people, ordinary people, pedestrian people, okay? Not big stars making claims. These are ordinary pedestrian people. I think this could happen to you. So, to give you some resounding evidence for life after death, a modern metaphor for triumph over 19th century materialism that often pervades the internet, you have a whole lot of evidence post sinking of the Titanic about one of the people deceased who provides evidence, not only just words written on paper and coming out of the mouth of medium, but physical appearances in physical mediumship. Okay, recognizable to friends and relatives. Okay, that happened in 1913, 14, 15, 16. Okay, from just one of the deceased people. And at the end of the book, it's worth getting this Michael Tim book, Transcending the Titanic, Beyond Death's Door by Michael Tim. At the end of the book, there's a summary of the stuff that William Stead provided. The actual death process and what it's like to wake up dead amongst other people doing the same thing. And he talks about the different reactions of different types of people and personality. Well worth reading. So I commend this book to you. Another wonderful book about the Titanic, but really one reaffirming that you're not just a lump of meat waiting to be eaten by predators, that you're a spiritual creature inhabiting a physical body for a while only. Okay, so that's the benefit of reading Michael Tim's book, Transcending the Titanic. I'll just tell you a bit more about this physical mediumship. It's likely you've never heard of it. Now, it's the materialisation through a medium who's normally a very gifted person, and today in the world there's only about 6 in the whole world that can do this. Something exudes from their immune system through orifices in their body, sometimes from their mouth or their ears, which seems a very bizarre process, but it's extremely rare. Now, David Thompson is one of the most spectacular physical mediums in the world today, of which there's only 6. I've met him. He is a particularly ordinary person. Wears a t-shirt, he's a real nice guy, he's got a mild British accent. He goes unconscious and doesn't know what's going on. These processes take place through him. He's tied down. That sort of thing, so he can't get up and dance around or fake anything or, you know, hold up puppets or anything. He just can't do it. He's been checked out by top-rated scientists. So now I'll tell you a couple of things. Victor Zammit had, through David Thompson's mediumship, Victor Zammit had his deceased daughter turn up at a seance, materialised in front of him recently. Would have been a deeply meaningful experience for Victor Zammit. Now, you can search on these keywords, David Thompson, physical mediumship. It happens in about 2 or 3 places in Sydney. One place is Wallachia. There's another place in North Sydney. And I suppose one question you would ask is, why don't we all know about this? Why is it kept a virtual secret? The answer is, and it's kind of remarkable, that while millions of people are glued to their plasma TVs, utterly hypnotised by the dancing colours, there's a handful of people in these medium situations. Only have about 20 or 30 people maximum at a time ever doing this. So you can guess, to see a seance with, to be a sitter in a seance, that's the term, to be a sitter in a seance with David Thompson, there's a waiting list a mile long, and you can't talk about it or you get labelled a loony, but these are the facts. And you go to one of these seances, I've been to a couple of them, and they are a remarkable personal experience, especially when you have a spirit address you by name in total darkness. That is a remarkable thing. They know about you. They recognise people in the audience somehow. I don't know the mechanism. And they also come through another medium elsewhere, and they'll pick someone in the audience who was just flown from one seance to another. That's happened, that's recorded, okay? So I just thought I'd put the idea into your head that you can look things up. Physical mediumship, Victor Zammit, that's all you've got to do. There's associated with him is a number of physical mediums, and it's well worth pursuing physical mediumship because it seems so utterly bizarre, but it's a truth in front of your very eyes, filling your senses. So it's well worth a look at. So check it out. Get on the net.